Greetings and Happy New Year. The theme of this year's gala is Celebrating Progress, a Nation on the Move. And it gives me a great deal of pleasure to be the keynote speaker, for as we celebrate our great nation, one of its sons has returned home to be a part of this momentous and historic occasion. Now, many of you may be thinking, this guy doesn't sound like a native son. He sounds like an American to me. Well, let me tell you a true story. When I first got to the U.S., I went to a local grocery store, and after buying some goods, I asked the clerk, "Can I have a bag, please?" The clerk said, "What?" And I said, "Can I have a bag, please?" Again, and her answer was the same. "What?" I asked one more time with the same result and realized my accent was so heavy, she didn't understand me. So I spelled it out. I said, "Can I have a B-A-G, please?" And she said, "Oh, you mean a bag?" I learned early on to adapt to my environment to max out my opportunities. And I was smart enough to max out because of the excellent education I received during my elementary and secondary schooling here in St. Kitts. So even though I sound like an American now, in my heart and soul, I am always a Kittitian. So no think me know why y'all say when y'all talk about me. Now that we're clear on that, let me also make it clear that this is a momentous occasion in the sense that every new year we celebrate our democracy and the ability of all residents of this country to vote and shape our future. We are tremendously fortunate to have a stable democracy where the voices of the people are heard. Now, don't get me wrong. Though we are all from St. Kitts and Nevis family, we may squabble a bit about this and that. But as long as we're squabbling about bettering ourselves and our ability to lead our country into the future, then it's okay with me. It's historic because we mark each new day in the history of this nation. We can look back in time and indeed celebrate the progress of our nation on the move. I was a young man of 21 when I left St. Kitts in 1968, and I often remember how I used to swim down on the Bay Road with my friends. To swim there today, I better be ready to tread some very deep waters and be able to dodge the massive cruise ships that bring valuable tourist dollars to our country. When I think of sports in our nation, I think about cricket. And I recall the excitement when we hosted the games for the 2007 Cricket World Cup, making us the smallest nation in the history to do so. And had I stayed, I might have looked forward to getting my higher education at one of the fine universities that call St. Kitts and Nevis home. Our nation was and is clearly moving forward. But there was a calling for me to spread my wings and see what the rest of the world had to offer. Now, in reality, I'm a pretty good singer. Junie just told you about that. And I don't mean a shower singer like some of you. You know, everybody knows how to sing in the shower, but, you know, I got those pipes, you know. I wanted to be the next singer of the Temptations. Who wouldn't want to be singing opposite Diana Ross and the Supremes? Huh? Now let's get real. So for me, I wanted to go to New York and pursue a career in music. But we are always pushed here in the islands by our parents to become academic wizards. You gotta be a doctor, you gotta be a lawyer, you gotta be an engineer. After completing my undergraduate studies in New York City, I established a solid career in the banking and finance industry, but politics and the good old boy network brought my career to a halt. With me being passed over for a job I truly deserved, and I became disillusioned with the industry. But God has a plan for us all. And I was steered toward the automotive industry, where I graduated with 18 others from the General Motors Dealer Academy in 1987. And then I purchased my first dealership in 1988. Though I worked my tail off to be successful, my first dealership failed after 2 years, as I did not quite understand the nuances of the car business. And many in my dealership also suffered the same fate, as we got the most dismal opportunities. You know, we got the crumbs that were left on the table. You know what I mean? The good food was left for the others. You know what I mean? Oftentimes, it just takes the right opportunity before you can succeed. One of my fellow dealers and a close friend of mine, a fellow by the name of Tom Moorhead, he failed 2 times as a General Motors dealer before given an opportunity with BMW, where his store prospered, and he's now one of the largest BMW dealers in America and the only African-American Rolls-Royce dealer in the world. So there I was in another quandary with a capital Q. So the question I posed to myself was, now what do I do? But instead of panicking, I became deeply introspective and figured out that I needed to learn the car business from the ground up instead of from the top down as I had been taught. So I sold that floundering dealership and gained additional valuable experience working as the general manager of a Buick, GMC, and Mercedes-Benz dealership in Dayton, Ohio. Can you hear me? Good. Without the feedback. That used to kill me when I sing, man. And I'm trying to hit those high notes, and I get a little feedback. And I go, oh, man, that ain't me. That's the mic. But at any rate, after a couple of years of doing this, I felt I was ready to try again at owning a car store, and ended up at Advantage Chevrolet in Chicago, Illinois, where my son Jason works with me as a general manager. My better half, Becky, is our corporate controller, and my daughter, Crystal, is the Internet and Business Development Director. In November 2006, I expanded my portfolio by acquiring a second Chevrolet dealership in Bolingbrook, Illinois, and as they say, the rest is history. The message I want to leave with you is, don't give up when you fail. Damn the naysayers, don't give up. Through all of the professional turmoil I faced, there was one constant. I was proud of the effort I put forth, even if the results were not commensurate with that effort. I could sleep at night and had much to be proud of. We Catitians and Divisions also have much to be proud of. For my brothers and sisters present, who may not know much about history, hundreds of years ago during the first ice age, St. Kitts and Nevis were one island, as the sea level was some 200 feet lower than it is today. Over our years, we have been inhabited by Indians of several tribes and ultimately primarily populated by people originally of African descent. Like most of the islands of the Caribbean, we were colonized by Europeans, with the French, British, and Spanish all vying for control over the years. And though we are a fully independent nation today, we still have close ties with the United Kingdom. Citizens of the Federation, your passport is worth its weight in gold, with you having the ability to travel to more than 80 nations without visa hassles. With the influx of slave labor in Africa, our primary source of trade used to come from the tobacco industry. With the fledgling United States becoming a powerhouse in tobacco production, also driven by slave labor, we switched to sugarcane production that drove our economy until dwindling demand forced a nationwide switch to tourism as the prime industry on our islands in 2005. Today, according to data from the World Trade and Travel Council, tourism accounts for 6.2% of our gross domestic product, with a steady growth of 6% per annum predicted until 2024, when tourism is expected to be some 30.4% of our GDP. In addition, visitors' exports, defined as spending within the country by international tourists for both business and leisure trips, including spending on transport, now stands at 269 million XCD and is expected to more than double to 546 million XCD by 2024. That's a staggering increase in the money that will flow into our country by 2024, and it represents an opportunity that we must be ready for as the numbers go up and the years go by. May God bless Jamaica, the Bahamas, Aruba, the Dominican Republic, and now Cuba, and the rest of the islands of the Caribbean as they vie for tourist dollars. But we want the Federation to be the tourist destination for those cruising, relocating, and simply wanting to spend time in what many consider to be the paradise. Think about our majestic volcanoes, lush greenery, beautiful white sand beaches, and warm tropical waters, and indeed, when you first come to St. Kitts and Nevis, one may think they are in paradise. Let's not do anything to make them feel otherwise. Before I continue to talk about what we can and need to do here, I just wanted to touch on how we may be perceived in the scheme of countries worldwide. And many of our tourist dollars come from the United States, where different ethnic groups are known for working and mastering many occupations and industries. Washington, D.C., and my current home of Chicago, which is cold as hell right now. As a matter of fact, I was told that on Wednesday, it's going to be 3 degrees. I ain't leaving St. Kitts. But at any rate, in my hometown of Chicago and Washington, D.C., they're heavily populated by people from all over the world. And certain ethnic groups are known as leaders in some small businesses. Take, for example, the food industry, where people from India are known for operating the 7-Eleven and Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin-Robbins franchises. People from Bangladesh own scores of Subway restaurants. Ethiopians, Trinidadians, and Jamaicans are known as entrepreneurs and for owning restaurants offering tasty native dishes. Hotel ownership gets its share of India immigrants, while Southeast Asians dominate the convenience store, massage, and nail and beauty industries. Dominicans, and you see it happening right here in St. Kitts, are making a lot of noise and a lot of money with the hair salons. And you know that. I see you down there in those Dominican places doing your hair. Especially the ladies getting those little weaves going on, you know? You know what I mean? So what's your point, Desmond? As we move forward, we must be known for something more than just a drop-off point for tourists who enjoy our islands and leave. We must imprint the Kittitian and Navision brand on their hearts and spirits so when they come, they never want to leave, even if their passport or the ship's horn say they must. We are blessed with the highest literacy rate in the world. With more than 98% of us able to read and write. That's a phenomenal number. How come no one knows about this? We know we will grow as a tourist destination, but what ancillary businesses and trades can we develop should tourism tail off due to economics or a natural or man-made disaster? My belief is the answer also lies within the service industry, And I'll give you a personal example. As some of you know, I've been building my dream home overlooking the area where I grew up near the police station at Baker's Corner. And I've hired many locals to do everything from pouring concrete to running electrical wires to plumbing for the house. When I call one of the tradesmen who does much of my work and I can't reach him, his answering machine message simply says, "I can't be reached." I'm never informed that I've just reached the greatest petition contractor on earth, and my call is important to him. I'm not prompted to leave a reason for my call, nor am I asked to leave a number where I can be reached as soon as he's free to call me back. That, my friends, is money left on the table. For if I were this gentleman, and he is a fine gentleman indeed, I'd be shouting Muhammad Ali style that I'm the greatest. We cannot leave money on the table. Another example is Christoph Harbor, which by any measure is a grand real estate development sure to help cement our status as one of the go-to destinations and places to resettle in the Caribbean. With hillside, oceanside, and beachfront homes, and super yacht marina berths, Christoph Harbor offers lush island beauty and a Riviera-inspired glamour that melds modern amenities and natural elements with thoughtfully planned living spaces. The bulk of the dollars needed to complete the transformation of our southeastern peninsula into Christoph Harbor have come from foreign investment, which we indeed welcome. In fact, we have a citizenship program where those donated more than $250,000 US to charity or investing more than $400,000 in real estate can qualify to apply for citizenship. So pretty much any purchase of a home, villa, or deep water berth at Christoph Harbor could bring you a passport to our beautiful islands. As I said, we welcome foreign investment. So don't get me wrong in any way. What needs to happen now is that we must insist that those building grand developments also train our local citizens on how to build. And most importantly, maintain these exquisite resorts instead of importing workers to do so. How many of us know how to repair freshwater systems? How many of us can plan and execute a large-scale construction project? How many of us can serve the mega yachts that will soon berth at Christoph Harbor? In a promotional video touting the attributes of Christoph Harbor, our Prime Minister Douglas talks about the environmental sensitivity of the project. Where will the future environmental engineers be trained? I liken the future of sustained growth and business development on our islands to my automotive dealerships in the U.S. As you know, as some of you know, I sell Chevrolet automobiles for a living, part of the General Motors family of cars, trucks, and sport utility vehicles. Chevrolet has long been known as the blue-collar brand for GM, meaning they build affordable, reliable cars for working-class people. Cadillac has long ruled the GM roost, building luxury cars for those with higher household incomes. I have been successful over the years because even though I sell Chevrolets, my dealerships treat every customer as if they've spent Cadillac dollars with me. This is the hallmark of our customer service efforts. I also serve the communities where I sell cars. For each dollar that I take in through the sale of an automobile, my team and I spend many hours serving our community through educational and economic campaigns, and through service on boards that make decisions that affect the lives of the local residents. To make a parallel that at first might make no sense to you, but to me, as tourism goes, St. Kitts is currently the Chevrolet of the Caribbean, with the Bahamas being the Cadillac of tourism. Please hear me out. When people enter our dealership, do we sell them a car? Or do we sell them a car and provide a lifetime of service? Will they come back for new tires or to have their oil changed? Will they tell their friends about the sales and service professionalism our dealership has provided? Will we incentivize their return through excellent service, or will they aspire to purchase from the Bahamas when they need that new car? This may seem a bit of a stretch to some of you, but really, think about it. Think about what I'm saying. The future of our island federation is dependent on those who come here to visit. We must present a vibrant, educated, and skilled populace to get them to seek residency or merely return because they consider our islands the best, most hospitable, and friendliest in the Caribbean. This must be a goal of the current and future administrations as we continue to be a nation on the move. Again, we must not leave any money on the table. What are other opportunities for growth on our islands? We are blessed with some of the most fertile soil on the earth, yet we are consumers and not large-scale producers of agricultural products. And the fresh water that pours down from our mountains should be bottled and marketed as an additional product that is uniquely from our federation. In our digital age, where we are tethered to devices that we can never seem to put down, and yes, I'm talking about iPhones and Android phones and tablets of every size, not to mention the latest laptop computers. One of my colleagues constantly uses the phrase ABC, always be charging. Now, while this is not grammatically correct, it makes perfectly good sense as the devices are useless without power to keep them charged and running. Well, here's another ABC for you. Always be creating. The next Google, the next Facebook, and the next greatest business opportunities are out there. Will we find them in St. Kitts and Nevis? So while we are a service-oriented nation, that should not stop us from becoming an entrepreneurial nation. Small in size, yet packing a big punch. Anybody ever heard of Finland? Finally, we have much to be proud of. I challenge each resident of this nation to make sure you do everything you can to help our federation grow. During my last visit, another one of my dream home contractors had a talk with me during a break from construction. We talked about politics. And I asked him who is he going to vote for. He said to me, I'm going to see which one of the parties is going to do something for me. I'm 32 years old. I've been working hard all my life. I still don't own my home. And I think the government should do something. So I scratched my head and I said, I asked myself, and I asked him, have you worked to better yourself? What are you doing to improve your own situation? We cannot and must not wait for anyone or anything to change our lives. We must take control as much as we can to carve out the pathway for our future. And this is not something we should rely on government for. We must support and work with our elected officials to effect change, whatever your party affiliation. In the words of the late, great U.S. President John F. Kennedy, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. In closing, it feels mighty good to be home. What a proud son I am today and will always be. I look forward to being back in Baker's Corner, having invested many dollars in building my dream home in my home country. Give me a few months back here and I will confuse the heck out of my American friends with my accent when I go back home. Seriously, though, I hope all who've left the island for whatever reason will also be sons and daughters who return to invest in our country's future. This is a must. Go spread your wings and return from that flight with a smooth landing at Robert L. Bradshaw International Airport. Welcome home. But be sure to bring back with you the spirit of adventure that you took with you when you left us. Be sure to bring back economic development ideas for the future so we may sustain our way of life for generations to come. Be prepared to mentor those who will benefit the most, our children and those in the same business arenas where you've gained your expertise. Each one, teach one. Network among your fellow Kittians and divisions and continue with your higher education. Turn your high school diploma into a bachelor's degree. Turn that bachelor's degree into a master's degree. Turn that master's into a PhD or two. With our world-leading literacy rate, let us be known as an intellectual powerhouse, not only in the Caribbean, but around the world. Let your voice be heard by our elected officials. We elected them to serve and to lead. Do not forget to immerse yourself in the political process that shapes our great nation. Remember our fellow citizens who may need a hand to climb the economic ladder. Everyone's contribution to our economy is large, even if their contribution and incomes are small. We are 55,000 strong. We are the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and that's who we are. May God continue to bless us as a nation on the move, and may God bless you all. Thank you for listening to me this evening.